sooner or later you discover that others' anger toward you is more about their inner depths than your deeds. Why a buddy suddenly withdraws, a coworker undermines you, or a former admirer resents you may be puzzling. You may blame yourself for making a mistake at first, but often the truth is more complicated and hidden. They aren't reacting to your activities. Their shadow is the one they've never faced. The human mind is complex. The shadow of rejected traits, disowned wants, buried guilt, and unaccountable anxieties lies within everyone. People have trouble facing these parts of themselves. Instead of integrating, they push them unconscious. The shadow persists. Heavy and silent, it waits for the proper trigger. This trigger is usually another individual. You could become what someone denies. Maybe your confidence shows their hidden insecurity. Their sloth may be revealed by your discipline. Your sympathy may remind them of their harshness, or your liberation may show them their willing chains, so they don't see you. You are their shadow, and they hate it. Many times, hatred, envy, and anger are projections of unclaimed portions of themselves. People can treat you like an enemy without injuring you. Your presence disrupts their illusion, therefore they fight you. You become the unwelcome mirror that reflects them. In order to avoid their gloom, they break the mirror. They slander, sabotage, or avoid you in hopes of eradicating the shadow. The shadow whispers, waits, and demands acknowledgement everywhere. Knowledge of this dynamic alters everything. This helps you stop taking hatred personally. Clear vision shows they're not fighting, self-fighting. They're repelled by their buried and disowned nature, not yours. You became their inner conflicts stage. Consider the unkind individual. The ridicule typically hides unhealed neglect wounds and a craving for compassion. Imagine someone who hates confidence. Though hostile, they are plagued by doubt and a frail self-image that makes others' power seem insulting. Imagine someone who can't accept freedom. Their shadow oppresses with fear and obedience and a craving for approval. Standing in your light illuminates their darkness. Many would sooner blame you than look within. Shadows are harmful because of this. It makes people believe what they despise in others. It's just their reflection. Attacking the outside is simpler than acknowledging the within. It's easier to criticize others' accomplishments than to confess passivity. Condemning someone's genuineness is easier than facing one's own deception. Remember that the shadow is within you as well as others. You make others uncomfortable, and they make you uncomfortable with the traits you dislike, the individuals who annoy you, and the attributes you mock. All may indicate your unclaimed shadow. To reject this is to live blindly, blaming and projecting. To see it is to start integrating, making peace with your darker sides. Others' quiet shadows will continue to shape their judgments, perceptions, and animosity. They may never know you are their mirror, not their enemy. They may never realize that they hate you because of their unhealed hurt. Their struggle, projection, and animosity may go unnoticed. But if you view it clearly, appearances will no longer fool you. You will know that a shadow hides behind resentment, envy, and rejection. That shadow talks through them, not conscious. Authenticity is one of the most disarming human traits. Being authentic implies living without masks, speaking with a true voice, and following one's inner compass. The one who embraces sincerity feels liberated, while others often react with animosity and hatred. Because sincerity goes beyond being. A mirror reveals deception. When you become honest, you unwittingly question others' survival illusions. Numerous folks wear masks. They create appealing identities, roles, and personas to avoid rejection. These masks protect against the world. Disguises carefully maintained to hide anxieties. An authentic presence destabilizes that armor. It shows the mask's frailty. The meticulously crafted identity feels weak, hollow, and fleeting. Thus, authenticity is often viewed as a threat. You remind others of their inauthenticity when you are authentic. You remind people of their compromises, silenced realities, and roles they played to belong. Your presence clashes silently. They don't hear you are not real. However, their unconsciousness registers it. It detects danger. Danger rouses defense. That defense typically manifests as rejection, criticism, or scorn for those who live authentically. So genuineness can be lonely. You wonder why others retreat, colden, or covertly undercut you. Not usually because of who you are, but because your genuineness breaks their illusion. They find you insufferable, not because you've hurt them, but because your presence challenges their responsibilities. Consider how unnerving it is to meet a nonconformist. The refusal reminds you of your cooperation. Consider the one who speaks truth when others remain silent. They may not mean it, but their courage makes you dread them. Consider the unapologetic person whose decisions reflect freedom rather than approbation. Their freedom shows your choices' constraints. Authenticity inherently causes suffering. It makes people look inward, and many are unprepared. However, sincerity isn't arrogance. Not for rebellion's sake. The alignment, being authentically you. Its potency comes from its simplicity. Mask maintenance takes work. Misinformation needs constant reinforcement. The image needs energy, but sincerity doesn't. Flowing, standing, breathing, and this effortless presence reveals others' laborious effort into their facades. So some discreetly resent the true person, mock them as enemies or self-centered. It will be called arrogance or eccentricity. These defense mechanisms reduce threats without changing. Most lack the guts to examine their own inauthenticity, which is necessary to accept authenticity. One prefers to mock the truth rather than face one's own deception. Authenticity challenges dominant power structures. Systems are built on silence, conformity, and obedience. Roles and scripts impact families, workplaces, and communities. Whoever breaks the script is disruptive. They reveal system weakness. They show the role is not absolute and the script is not law. Many who depend on system stability blame the authentic one, when it's their authenticity that's the issue. Authenticity goes beyond enmity. Even resentful people long for sincerity. They perceive freedom in you. They perceive your courage. They may criticize you, but envy, a bitter realization of their inner world, lies behind. Your presence reminds them of all they lost to meet expectations. This reminder is unpleasant for some. Not safe authenticity. It does not guarantee fame or acceptance. It usually promises the opposite. Live truthfully and embrace being misunderstood, judged, and disliked. It also frees you from others' changing viewpoints. No illusions will make you bend. You won't compromise your values for transient admiration. Despite unsettling others, you will hold firm. Because it's contagious, authenticity may feel scary. Self-authenticity is not self-centered. It drives others to rethink their masks, which is the first step to change. Authenticity's stealthy revolution. It dispels illusions, incites envy, and turns enmity. But it also gives those who oppose it freedom. An encounter is rarely as straightforward as it seems. Every interaction, relationship, statement, or silence has power. It might flow quietly and almost undetected or forcefully. In most cases, these dynamics are veiled. They shape behaviors, reactions, and judgments in the background. Unspoken power struggles aren't always about dominance. It's about power, validation, and the unspoken desire to change someone's life. Our ideal connection is based on love, respect, or shared aims. Elegant phrases conceal darker intents. Someone wants self-worth, wants recognition. Someone desires submission. One more thrives on superiority. These needs aren't always explicit. They manifest in human behavior. An invisible power shift often causes someone to become cold, hostile, or compete instead of support. Equitable power dynamics are unusual. Even in tight relationships, there's a ripple of who leads and follows, validates and wants validation, influences and is influenced. Tension typically emerges when these roles alter. Someone who felt in charge may feel powerless. The one who relies on your weakness may be distressed when you strengthen. It's possible that your dependent feels intimidated by your freedom. Your small alterations often spark resentment because of what they represent. Changes in the silent hierarchy. You should consider how individuals react to boundaries. Drawing lines disrupts balance. Whoever benefited from your compliance loses control. Their animosity is over lost, unsaid power, not the boundary. Or consider how others react to your success. Some see your success as a reminder of their deprivation, breaking the implicit bargain that kept you poor. Relationship changes break, silent power. Normal interactions exhibit these patterns. Interrupters and listeners in conversation, who stands out in crowds and who blends. Family hierarchy and dismissal. Although simple, these patterns indicate power dynamics that subtly rule interactions. When one individual resists or steps out of their job, it causes friction. Power dynamics are hazardous because they are rarely seen. They're easily misguided. Some people despise you because they feel threatened by you. They may think you disappointed them, yet your choices showed them how powerless they are. Your presence breaks their underlying balance of control, which is why they hate you. Not all power is dominance or authority. The power to make someone feel guilty, deny affection, or silently pressure expectations can be subtle. No yelling. However, by threatening withdrawal and granting approbation, only if you agree by manipulating unspoken connection norms, they exert great power. When you quit cooperating, the structure crumbles. The collapse of a covert power system breeds animosity faster than most things. Understand these dynamics to realize that conflict is often deeper than surface disputes. The struggle for authority, fear of losing control, and worry of being overshadowed are at the heart. No one says I resent you because you no longer make me feel superior, or I am angry because I cannot. manipulate you anymore. Betrayal, hubris, selfishness, or disdain are their explanations. Words hide reality. You're no longer under their control. Malice is not inherent in power-seeking, natural to humans. Control is sought to avoid anarchy. Influence reassures them of their worth. In an uncertain environment, hierarchies comfort them. These desires are problematic when ignored. They become silent expectations and resentment toward non-compliant people. You can't always break these trends. Not always can you prevent their resentment. Clear vision eliminates confusion. No longer do you internalize hatred as a weakness. Realize that most of what people project onto you is not about you. It's about invisible power flows, the invisible power structures that govern human relationships and the fragile sense of control people maintain at all costs. Not everyone sees others as they are. They see themselves in others. Every relationship reflects hidden truths, wounds, and desires. What we appreciate in others frequently reflects what we want for ourselves. What we hate in others often reveals our hidden selves. The mirror effect proves that our external judgments often reflect our inner ones. People can turn against you without reason due to the mirror effect. Not really responding to you, they respond to your awakening. You become the mirror that shows them what they're missing, avoiding, or embarrassed of when you represent their suppressed attributes. Many find that reflection unpleasant. Instead of facing it, they assault the mirror. They critique. They resent. They withdraw. Your presence has illuminated their shadow, not because you hurt them. Consider the individual who mocks your aspirations. They chuckle yet feel their unrealized potential. Imagine someone who hates your confidence. Their animosity may reflect their insecurity. Consider your freedom hater. The shackles of fear may cause their rage. The hatred is always about your reflection, not you. This makes the mirror effect unpleasant. It destroys delusions. Living truly, growing, and embodying attributes others have rejected in themselves removes their self-deception. You remind people of who they could be, aspired to be, or fear they are. Your reflection becomes too bright, honest, and revealing. Instead of changing, they may break the mirror by putting their discomfort onto you. The mirror effect extends to you as well as others. The individuals who annoy you, the features you hate, and the activities you strongly detest may be signs of your shadow. The sloth you hate in others may show you fear of rest. Your hatred of arrogance may reveal a need for acknowledgement. Dishonesty you cannot accept may reflect your silence when you refuse to share your truth. Rejection of others often reflects rejection of oneself. Knowing this is to grasp the profound truth of projection. Someone transfers their insecurities onto you to avoid facing them. They blame you for selfishness when they fear it. They call you arrogant because they secretly want to be superior. They call you a failure when they feel failure knowing their worth. Not all projections are harmful, often unaware, but it distorts reality, turning mirrors into enemies and reflections into targets. This is why awareness matters. If you ignore the mirror effect, you'll spend your life believing others define you. Because you fear rejection, you will seek favor and mistake animosity for inadequacy. But when you look fully, you realize that people treat you based on their inner fights rather than your merit. Their admiration shows their untapped potential. Their wrath reflects their discount shadow. The mirror effect also makes some relationships magnetic. People admire you because you remind them of their unrealized potential. Your courage inspires them. Their sympathy grows from yours. Your growth motivates them to change. The mirror can inspire change, not simply anger. Your reflection can inspire others to rediscover their lost identities. Not everyone chooses progress in the mirror. Some resist, deny, or lash out. Relationships break, trust disappears, and anger rises. Conflict is rarely about surface problems, as the mirror effect shows. It reveals deeper facts that someone isn't ready to face. The fury isn't about your words, choices, or existence. Seeing oneself too clearly in another causes pain. Living with this insight requires different strengths. You stop personalizing rejections. You perceive criticism as knowledge, not judgment. You understand that jealousy shows another's longing, not your guilt. You acknowledge that hostility is generally self-centered, disguised hatred. The mirror effect proves human connection is deeper than appearances. Reflection, projection, and inner conversation are always involved. Thus, the mirror effect challenges and invites. It's difficult because you're often attacked for what you awaken in others. An invitation, since every reaction, adoration, or anger might disclose secret truths about the giver. To perceive others as mirrors is to understand yourself. To perceive yourself as a mirror is to comprehend the hidden reasons people treat you. Envy is rarely expressed, not a trumpet of confession or an honest declaration of weakness. In stillness, envy lurks. It remains in the pauses between sentences, the sudden loss of warmth, and the subtle energy shift that indicates a change, but no one dares identify it. One of the most strong but hidden feelings in relationships is envy. It becomes toxic, caustic, and destructive when rarely uttered openly. Most people won't admit envy. No, your success makes me feel small. So, your confidence reminds me of what I lack. Pride forbids admitting. Jealousy, since it admits inferiority. Envy disguises itself. In quiet, backhanded compliments, unexpected remoteness, and secret contempt it hides. You may not see it until it erupts. When admiration becomes criticism, friendship becomes rivalry, and support becomes sabotage. Envy's quiet frequently appears as indifference. Someone who once cheered your triumphs may no longer applaud as loudly, reach out, or grin as sincerely. Their silence is heavy, yet it cannot be linked to betrayal. Envy grows slowly, like a shadow. It increases its grasp when people compare and realize what they lack. Envy is sneaky because it feeds on intimacy. People may admire you, but those closest to you feel the comparison the most. A friend, coworker, or family member may secretly envy you because your development highlighted their stagnation, not because you hurt them. Your light illuminates their untapped potential. Instead of growing from their discomfort, they retreat into silence, nursing a concealed wound that becomes sullen anger. The quiet of jealousy shows in how others view your actions. Your innocent words become arrogant. People reject hard-earned achievements as luck. Self-respect boundaries are seen as selfish. These distortions indicate envy, not your reality. The envy-clouded perception. It presents you as what others fear they are not. Envy spreads like a poison since it's rarely addressed. Unspoken, it fears. Ignored, it deepens. You rarely hear, "I envy you." However, they may sabotage you by undermining comments or withholding assistance when you need it. Their quiet isn't neutral. Resentment pervades. Silence doesn't praise growth. Recognition denying silence. Silence that desire for your failure for relief. However, envy is not limited to others. It inhabits you too. To reject this is to ignore your shadow. You may have felt inadequate when admiring someone else's independence, attractiveness, prosperity, or daring. Though you denied it, you felt it. The silence of envy is not limited to foes. It can enter your heart. If you don't face it, you'll project it onto others and judge them for the attributes you wish you possessed. The quiet of envy shows how much humans want comparison. People judge themselves by their own and others' accomplishments. Something close surpassing them feels like a threat to their identity, as if your success devalues them. Envy is never about the other person, about the mirror. They symbolize the unlived self. To view jealousy clearly is to realize that much of life's antagonism comes from your light, not your defects. People are more than just annoyed by your illness. Things going well with you often upset them. Weakness is forgiven, but strength brings insecurities. They can accept mediocrity, but perfection reveals their avoidance. Conformity is fine, but authenticity reveals their masks. Instead of acknowledging envy, they remain mute, breeding hatred. The quiet of jealousy is dangerous because it is invisible until it is too late. You may think someone supports you, but secretly wants your downfall. You may think you have pals, but discover that others secretly compete with you. Envy is one of the most powerful factors in relationships, since it is unsaid. It corrodes trust, connection, and adoration into hostility. You stop misinterpreting envy's silence when you identify it. No more shrinking to avoid triggering others. You no longer demand answers when someone leaves. A frigid person no longer makes you doubt your worth. You regard jealousy as a shadow. It shows someone else's untapped potential, not your failure. You learn that stillness often makes your accomplishments louder than applause. That stillness conceals envy that words cannot express.